Discussion keeps the world turning.
This is Roundtable.
Hello, welcome to Roundtable, where we serve up piping hot debates on the issues that sizzle in China and beyond. I'm Niu Honglin. China and Peru might be on opposite sides of the globe, but their connection is no small fry. From trade deals to young youth-led projects, these two nations are conducting exchanges that are as colorful as a Peruvian festival and as bustling as a Beijing market. On this APEC Day, let's unfold the pages of this fascinating story of friendship. For this episode, I'm joined by Yushan and Steve Hatherly. Now grab your virtual compass and follow us to the heart of the discussion. With Peru hosting the 31st APEC Economic Leaders Meeting, it's a perfect opportunity to dive into the rich relationship between China and Peru. From cultural ties and youth exchanges to ambitious economic projects, these two countries are finding more in common than ever. Still, Peru is a really far away country for people here in China. Yet, actually, after doing the research, we realize in our daily lives, the Peruvian element is getting more and more. It's more than you would ever anticipate it. So let's learn a little bit about the country first.
Yes, and Peru is the third largest country in South America, right after Brazil and Argentina. And it is featured by a variety of landscapes, from mountains and beaches to deserts and rainforests. And you know what? The first impression I've got on Peru was from the British cartoon, or rather a fictional literature called The Paddington Bear. And in case you guys don't know, the Paddington Bear, despite that he speaks fluent British accent in English, he's from a jungle called the darkest Peru, according to the fiction. So yeah,
I already love Peru a little more.
And the fun fact about that is where Paddington Bear comes from is a rainforest in the darkest Peru, and it's best known for its orange jams and made into marmalade, which is something that's very famous in the fiction, that people made into marmalade sandwich or orange jam sandwich that all of the kids just fell in love with. But, you know, like you mentioned, Honglin, despite the geographical distance, actually China...
Tell us more about Peruvian fictional bears.
Oh my gosh. You gotta learn more from the movies, I suppose.
I'm teasing. Back to the real country.
Yeah, back to the real friendship. Here, China and Peru have established mutual ties over the years as well. And Peru, as a matter of fact, was one of the first Latin American countries to establish diplomatic relations and a comprehensive strategic partnership with China. It was also the first Latin American country to sign a package of free trade agreements with China. So over the years, economically speaking, there are abundant bilateral cooperation between the two countries as well. As far as I've researched, the total bilateral trade volume in 2023 between China and Peru has reached over 37 billion US dollars. That's a lot.
That's quite impressive. And we talk about Peru not only because it is, you know, eyes on Peru, especially for today and probably this week, but also that actually China and Peru have more in common than I expected before doing the research.
Yeah, and one of the really important parts of their relationship is the port that they are going to share together. This is really, really important news. This is from a recent Xinhua report. Chancay, located about 78 kilometers north of Lima, that's the capital of Peru, there's a natural deep water port there. And once it's in operation, it's going to become a major gateway to the oceans and a crucial hub in the South Pacific, helping redistribute cargo from countries like Chile and Ecuador and Colombia and Brazil and Paraguay. The sea freight time, this is really important as well. The time that it takes to ship from South America to Asia, almost cut in half, from 45 days to 23 days in total.
Yes, and when it comes to the shipping date from Peru to China, actually now the fastest one is only 10 days. days. And there's even the saying in Peru that's getting more and more popular, from Peru to Shanghai. And they're talking about the kind of export. And I'm not really sure about you, but I suddenly noticed that I have been enjoying Peruvian blueberries for a really long time.
Yes, as have I, as a matter of fact. In fact, when I saw, the information about what products were exported from Peru here to China, when I saw blueberries, I thought, oh my gosh, I buy those already. You see the little Peru sticker on there. Anyway, one of the big a little more on this port, one of the big advantages of this port is that the ultra-large container vessels, or ULCVs, they have a capacity of 18,000 TEU. They are going to be able to dock for the first time on the Peruvian Pacific coast. TEU, that's a measure of volume in units of 20-foot-long containers. So one 20-foot-long container equals 1 TEU. So that's what it means when we say 18,000 TEU ships. These are ships that are much larger. They can carry a lot more cargo. And again, the time to shipping is going to be reduced by quite a bit.
Yes, and this project is actually a landmark project of the two countries' Belt and Road Cooperation. As a matter of fact, China and Peru signed the Memorandum of Understanding on Belt and Road Initiative Cooperation in 2019. And thanks to the cooperation, Peruvian alpaca dolls have enjoyed tremendous popularity in China. I'm pretty sure because Yushan has just come back from CIIE in Shanghai. Did you see some of these alpaca?
Oh, yeah. I saw at least 2 stands featuring the Peruvian alpaca dolls right there. They have different size. Some of them is as tall as, say, 80-year-old children. Well, a tiny, little bit of smaller than a real alpaca, I'll say. But it's the same kind of quality of fur, such a furry ball standing right there. I have a picture of me and my colleague Kate, or Hong Yu, who went up to report about the CIA. Like each of us just hugging it in turn, taking pictures for each other. And
her voice even softened when she talks about the alpaca.
Yeah, right.
Because the fur itself just feels so warm, and as if you were touching a piece of cloud from the sky. So the entire image of the alpaca doll is just to prevent you with warmth and joy, and it's very popular among a lot of, especially female customers there at the CIA exhibition hall as well. And I have to tell you, they're pricey.
Well,
very pricey.
Yeah, but they're with good quality for sure, and I guess that's the reason. And actually, the creator of the alpaca doll enterprise said that since the first time that they joined CIIE in 2018 till this time, guess how many or how what is the increase of the actual sales volume of their alpaca doll?
Specifically the alpaca dolls?
Yes.
200%.
100 times.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
So that's how impressive it is. And I guess
the price is not the limit.
It's not the limit. And when it comes to business and trade, of course, these are the things that would encourage a lot of win-win cooperation. But for us here on Roundtable, we also focus a lot more on cultural exchanges, and we enjoy the kind of similarities and differences and different types of cultural elements that we can share and we can learn from each other. And to that, I actually asked Bernardo Munoz, who is the commercial counselor with the Consulate General of Peru in Shanghai and director of Peruvian Trade Commission in Shanghai. I asked him, if you get to choose something that you want to present to actually not only Chinese but also the entire world, what are some characters about your country you'd like to share with us?
The gastronomy, the food. You probably know that we have the biggest Chinese group of people in our region. We say we are the Chinese country in South America, so to say. As a matter of fact, more or less 10% of the population has something to do with China. Most of your friends, you always have in your inner circle someone that you will say Chino or Chinese. Quite normal, it's very familiar. When we talk about cultures, we received from different countries of the world a lot of migrants that came to our country. Part of our strategy or our policy or our warmness is to accept you as you are and respect your culture. And one of the things that we integrate or used to integrate you in our system was your food. And in the case of the Chinese people that came in, they made a fusion of Peruvian and Chinese food. And the name of this fusion is Chifan, that we say Chifa. And the interesting thing is what stays behind. Most of the people that came are from Guangzhou, Guangdong province. That's why most of the food is a Cantonese food. But the most important and interesting thing to share is the way you used to eat, you always share all the food. You share everything. And that's something that we do family-wise with the Chinese foods, with the Chifa foods. Once a week, more or less, or every 2 weeks, you will meet all the family, eat Chifa, and you will share all the food together. And this is something that we have so much in common because we do respect a lot the family, and this is something very important for us as well. So when we talk about the Chifa and the family, it's amazing how we share this gastronomy. You know probably that Peru is one of the countries that nowadays known because of its gastronomy. San Pellegrino have a list of the 50 best restaurants in the world. 4 of them are Peruvians. The World Travel Awards has given Peru 8 or 9 years in a row as the best culinary destination worldwide. So these are things that has to do with the way we appreciate the food, because we have influence from China with the Chifa food. We have influence for the Japanese with the Nikkei food. We have influence of the Africans with the Creolian food, and influence of the Europeans, Spanish, Italian, and French. So this mix of foods makes the Peruvian gastronomy very rich. What stays really behind is that we have accepted the culture of all the people that came to work with us.
I actually enjoyed that answer quite so much.
Hold on, I'm just booking my airplane ticket to Peru right now.
Right? That's the thing, because food is something so common that we embrace, we enjoy every day. Yet it is a good little symbolism of how Peruvian culture is actually an integrated culture of a lot of all of the civilizations in Peru integrated together and created this relatively modern new things. And that's the aim, and that's the actually purpose of cultural exchanges.
Absolutely. Nothing unites people more than food does, that's for sure. I didn't know, actually. I did not know that there are roughly 2.5 million, 3 million, a little over 3 million people of Chinese descent in Peru. And he touched on that briefly, saying that within your inner circle, there's always some connection to China somehow, some way. 10% of the total population. I did not know that. I also did not know that the first batch of 75 Chinese workers arrived at a port near Lima in October of 1849 from China. And then afterwards, there were a lot of different waves of large numbers of immigrants in the 19th and 20th centuries. And there they were building railways and constructing towns and mining saltpeter and planting cotton and rice. There's a long, long history between these two countries.
Yes, and I think that is why nowadays we also see a lot of local institutions, Confucius institutions, teaching Chinese, sharing Chinese culture, because the root is definitely there. But from there, it has been growing. They started this at least tens or at least decades ago of learning the Chinese culture, integrating the Chinese food culture, and also calligraphy, painting, tea culture. And that was actually the impression about China in Peruvian people's mind. They think about, when they think about China, they think about chifa or 吃饭, that's the Chinese word. And they think about, for example, dragon dances. They think about traditional Chinese festivals like spring festivals. That was the original idea of what China is all about in Peruvian people's heart. Yet I asked the question to Bernardo, what is the current or the latest edition of the keyword of China, especially in the heart of youth?
The technology. So the trend of China focusing and R&D, all that you are investing in new products and new technology and new know-how, you are making something that nobody's doing in the world the way you are doing it and as fast as you are doing it. So this is something when we talk about with the young people, they do really appreciate all the research and development that you are investing. That is one point of view that's as well nice to understand, and everyone appreciates it. China means technology. The other thing that is as well interesting to analyze is as follows. Your study system, the way you are organized, and the pressure you put in each of the students. So you start in the primary school. Before you go to the primary school, you have to do some tests. Only the ones that have the best marks will go to the best schools. The same happens in the upper school. You use so many filters in the primary school, in the upper school, and when you go to college or you go to the university. It's amazing the way the meritocracy in this country is working. You really need to be good because there's a lot of people looking for the same positions. So the amount of quality of time, the amount of effort you are putting, it is amazing because you are doing a really big competition for each of the posts, for each of the opportunities that you have in this country. The young people will see, wow, what is China doing with the young people, with all the students? You are so well prepared. Everybody is very, very tough and very intelligent, and they are doing a lot of effort to have the best marks. And this is something that people in our country are understanding and seeing, hey, that's the way to go through. Because, to be honest, the gap is bigger and bigger and bigger because you are investing a lot in education with the best universities that is mixed with research and the universities and the technology in the private sector. So when you ask me, which is a trend on what about the young people think about the Chinese population, it is amazing because they know it's a huge competence there. People are very, very, very well prepared with a lot of knowledge and a lot of technology. So this is something that a lot of Latinos will like to learn and share. It's exactly what you mentioned before. We are in a situation where probably the gap is getting bigger and bigger because you have more technology, your people are preparing and they're doing a really hard job. Probably third world countries aren't going as fast as you. But as you mentioned before, the cooperation. And this is something that we need to learn how to deal with. So we have a lot of people that are trying to learn with a lot of abilities and capabilities as well. And we have a lot of raw material, and we have young people that want to learn. And you have a lot of machines with the best technology, the best technology in general, and you have money. So this combination is actually the best way to work together. So let's find something that is sustainable on the long run. You grow and you let us grow. You give us technology and we have access to technology that normally we don't have the budget to buy them. But due to the work together, due to the cooperation, due to this government-to-government agreement, you are giving us the opportunity to have access to good and new technology that normally we won't have the opportunity because it's too expensive. So you are giving us good technology in affordable pricing, and you are working with our countries thinking in the long run, so to say.
That was Bernardo Munoz, commercial counselor with the Consulate General of Peru in Shanghai and director of Peruvian Trade Commission in Shanghai. And I didn't anticipate the answer of education system because you compete a lot, and that impressed us.
Yeah, the level of competition in school, maybe not the same in Peru as perhaps it is here in China, or maybe it is. Maybe that's not fair to say. But speaking of schools, there's cooperation there. I mean, we can spend an hour or 2 hours just talking about different projects that the two countries are working on together. And back in 2015, Ricardo Palma University, which is in Lima, and which is also famous for its modern language studies, they had they had the opportunity to become the first university in South America to make Chinese-Spanish translation a major in its curriculum, which I thought was a really cool opportunity for students there. So yeah, I mean, we can find different examples in education talking about his love of the Chinese education system.
Yeah, and also I noticed something that he mentioned, that there's a lot of similarities that we can find between while we are trying to bridge this cultural communication, especially among younger people in both countries. And there is this one that I personally found really interesting. That's according to a report by ichongqing.info that this November, the Land and Sea China and Latin America Youth Nature Observation Program was officially launched in Lima, Peru as well. And it was joined by representatives from environmental NGOs in Peru, Chile, and Argentina, as well as 20 local youth delegates. And this is also joined by the Chongqing Luhai International Communication Foundation. And this foundation introduced that Chongqing, as a matter of fact, the city's identity through the story of raptor migration. So Chongqing has this history of raptor migration, and similar to Chongqing, the Andes Rocky Mountain Range in Peru shares the same feature. So the foundation hopes to use this raptor as a bridge for cultural exchange between China and Latin America, so that they can foster this mutual understanding, and just so that the young people can work together based on this very unique similarity, and also in the meantime make friends with each other.
And I have to say, I'm proud to give this example. That is the Journey Through Civilizations World Tour, which is conducted by our organization, CMG, is actually also in Peru currently. It's a Peruvian special edition and exhibition. So if you're listening to the show and you're in Peru, you can go visit the exhibition. It's a fascinating one, and it has been welcomed around the world.
More media collaborations too, just from the same outlet that you just mentioned, Yushan. And very recently as well, on November 6th local time, this launched Peru's China Hour and the inaugural China Audio Visual Month. They were both launched to enhance the cultural exchange. The event showcased Chinese audiovisual content, and what they're looking to do is to deepen cooperation between the two countries in broadcasting and media as well, which I think is a really, really cool thing.
Yeah, I heard they're bringing the Spanish version of this Three Body Problem TV show to Peru as well. I wasn't really expecting that one to come with a Spaniard version, but there it is, and it's right there in Peru being showcased.
Oh, that was a worldwide super popular show.
Oh, yeah.
That's why. Yeah, really exciting. I don't know if there'll ever be a Peruvian edition of Roundtable, but it would be exciting if there was.
Maybe artificial intelligence can transfer all of our
Hey,
discussions
be careful what you wish for.
into Spanish so that the country Peru, which is using Spanish as their official language, can enjoy this a bit more.
Or we can just go and visit. That's a better option.
That's a better option for sure. So even these two countries, our two countries, are really far away from each other. Yet at least today through Roundtable, you see the similarities, the exchanges, the communications that we're conducting. And all these are just one example here. That's just one friendship. And around the world, we are enjoying these kind of different friendships in different forms, in different pairs. And who can say that this is not impressive?
By the way, we didn't even talk about any dishes yet.
Oh, right.
Ceviche, that's Peru's national dish.
That's a very popular one.
Oh, my goodness. That's, I think it's sea bass.
Fish.
It's a white fish. I think it's usually sea bass. And then there's lime juice and salt and red onions and some chili peppers, and then the salt and the chili peppers cook the fish just a little tiny bit. It's so light, it's so refreshing, and it's very, very addictive too.
Sounds awesome.
It is awesome.
Yeah, I will introduce to you the koi, better known as guinea pig. Imagine roasted guinea pig served on your table, and it's so crispy on the outside with a little apple or something in its mouth. not something I would try in anytime soon, but yeah, something Peruvian for roundtable.
I'll stick
today.
with my ceviche.
And in the meantime, like our guest already said, that you can find a lot of Chinese element, especially when it comes to food in Peru as well. So that once you feel that your Chinese stomach, so to speak, needs a little bit comfort food, you can find it there in Peru as well. I'm booking my tickets as well.